What's up, Domino community? I'm Lily Hevish, and today I'll be teaching you how to make these awesome magnets and marbles tricks. So get your marbles and let's start building. Now you may have seen some of these marble tricks in my previous video, and I just can't get over how many creative possibilities there are with something so simple. Really, it's just a marble on a tilted board, but with physics and different angles and types of marbles, you can get super creative with how they roll and hit more dominoes or other objects and make amazing chain reactions. So to start, you'll need a couple of materials. You'll need marbles, magnetic marbles, a portable flat hard surface like a table, some plywood, a whiteboard, even foam board or MDF would work. You'll need something sturdy to prop up your building surface, like some blocks or wooden planks, tape, both regular and double-sided, dominoes, and if you have them, field starters. I definitely recommend them. They'll make making ramps a lot easier, and cardstock. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to purchase any of these items and make some of these tricks. But the first step is to prop up your building surface on an angle. Now it's really important that both ends are perfectly level and that it's extremely stable. From here, you can experiment with how the marble rolls on your building surface. You might decide that you want a lower slope or a higher slope to make the marble roll faster. It's a lot of trial and error, so once you like the slope that it's at, I highly recommend securing your building surface. You could even get a yoga mat, for example, and put it on a non-skid surface like that. And I highly recommend securing it down with tape. You really don't want this to be sliding, so make sure it's not going to move as you're going to be building on it. Next, we're going to make a path for the marble to follow by taping down some dominoes. I recommend using some tape and looping it around and putting two pieces on the dominoes so it doesn't rotate, and then you can just stick the domino to your building surface and then have the marble roll down and follow its path. So again, this is going to be a lot of experimentation, seeing where the marble rolls. You can always adjust the angle of your barriers to make a larger or smaller slope, but just see how that works with the marble. See how different slopes affect how the marble rolls. You can even experiment with the starting point of the marble, because that'll affect how it rolls as well. Now another cool trick is, instead of using dominoes as barriers, you can also use field starters. And because these are a lot longer, you don't have to tape as much, which can be kind of nice, and it also just makes it a long, straight edge. If you want to get field starters, I'll leave a link to my H5 Domino creation sets down below. But now, let's move on to making curved paths. To make curved paths for the marble, I'm using cardstock, which is going to be a little bit thicker than normal pieces of paper. I'm going to start by marking out 1 centimeter on the side of the paper, and then cutting 1 centimeter strips on the long edge. It might be helpful to use a ruler and pencil to mark out where to cut, but you can also use a paper cutter. So these are all of our 1 centimeter wide paper strips. And you'll see if I bend the paper, it's pretty flexible, but it's not going to fall apart. So this is going to be really great for a marble to roll on. Next, I'm going to cut a piece of double-sided tape about 1 inch long, and I'm going to cut it in half horizontally and attach it to the smallest face of the domino. Now with the domino flat on your building surface, you can easily attach the paper to the side of the domino. And this is kind of the fun part, because you get to shape exactly how you want the path to look. Now we can get our regular tape, make a couple of loops, and then attach that to the flat surface of the domino. And this is how we're going to attach the ramp to the building surface. If you're making a curved path, I definitely recommend taping it down at multiple points. This will help the loop be a lot more sturdy as the marble rolls down it. And if you want to make longer paths, you can tape together multiple strips of cardstock. I'm using some double-sided tape to attach it to the domino of the previous one. If you want to get really fancy, you could even print out a design on your ramps. So again, just keep experimenting with how the marble rolls and make the shape that you want. You can add multiple ones, you can have it go back and forth. This is where it gets really fun. And at the end, you might have something that looks like this. Next, I'll show you how to propel marbles using magnets. This is one of my favorite tricks because it's pretty much defying gravity. First, you're going to start by taping down some dominoes as ramps. I'm starting with a slope that goes downwards, and then it's going to gradually go up a little bit. Next, take your magnetic marbles and place them where it begins to slope upward. Then we can take our regular marble and put it on top of it. Now it's really important that you make sure the marble is in direct contact with the magnetic marble. If there's a little gap, it might not propel, so just make sure it's directly in contact with it. I would recommend having the marbles slope back slightly so that the normal marble can easily rest against the magnetic marble. Now to start it, just place another magnetic marble at the top and then release it. So if we play this in slow motion, essentially the energy is being transferred from the first marble into the row of marbles, and once they make contact, the magnetic force is transferred throughout all of the marbles all the way to the regular marble, which gets pushed into the other direction. I definitely recommend testing around how all of this works. You might not even need 5 magnets. You could probably do this with 2 magnets, but see how that affects how the marble rolls. One tip is that if you secure the magnets down with double-sided tape, it can propel the normal marble even further because there's less energy loss with vibrations. Or just connect multiple magnets, and because it's larger, it'll be less likely to shift around and lose energy with vibrations. Now in my next video, I'll teach you 3 more awesome marble tricks, including Newton's cradle, how to go from a marble back to a domino line, and how to hold back multiple marbles. These are super useful tricks, so if you want to check that out, you can watch part 2 right over here. Big shout out to our featured community member, Domino. Go support their channel, and as always, I'm Lily Hevish, and keep on building.